I am so mixed when it comes to the ending of Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuuX. I'm sorry, this episode, there's so much of it that I want to absolutely love, but at the same time, it is a jumbled mess. And the pacing is so off. It just felt like at so many points throughout this episode, it's just randomly going, oh, this person, this is what this person thinks. And oh, by the way, this person, they've double crossed this person because why? Hope you understand their character because we're going to do this. It just feels like things just kept flipping left and right. At the same time, though, there was so much in here that put a smile on my face. Like, there's so many points in it that just, like, if you know what is going on in the original Gundam series, it's just like, oh, cool, that happened. Or, oh, cool, now I can see how this all kind of intertwines. But its biggest flaw, and this is sort of what I've kind of seen throughout the entire series, is it's one of those ones where unless you're a massive fan of the original Gundam series, you're not going to understand any of this. I think that's the biggest problem. And if that's the purpose, if that was the goal of the creation of this, is we're going to assume you know the original Gundam series, it's fine. But it's obvious that they're not doing that because they keep showing a lot of stuff from the original Gundam series. I mean, we had entire episodes trying to get this pre-established setup to build into what they're doing with the characters. So I don't know. I'm so mixed on this. And this is the troubling thing because, like, I want to do my impressions on this episode, but it's like, where do we even start? It's just all over the place. I think at its core, let's talk about the big core meaning of this entire series, it seems. The idea that, yes, at some point, Lalah, based on this timeline, it seems, she survived being attacked by Amuro because Char himself sacrificed his life. He was going to go attack his sister, he got stopped, and then suddenly Amuro goes after Lalah, and he ends up taking the blow. Yes, in the original series, that was flipped. And so in this timeline, the setup of this entire timeline is that Lalah herself was saved because Char sacrificed himself. And this triggered this crazy Secnova Omni Blast thing-majiggy where she suddenly awakens new type powers that creates worlds. It's not alternate timelines. That was the big kind of shock there, is it seems like it's implying that no, she's literally creating universes. She's creating all those worlds where Char keeps dying. And the core element, and I think this is like the core concept of what they're going with, the theme that they're going for the ending of this entire series, is Lalah is always letting herself be protected. And she loves Char so much. She loves these people, and every single universe that she's creating, something always ends up happening. She meets Char, and Char will eventually sacrifice himself to save Lalah. And that's building into this idea that she can't seem to create a world where he doesn't die. And this one, GQuuuuuuX world, is finally the moment where finally Char doesn't die. Why? Because she never meets him. It gets in this idea that it's all kind of predicated around the idea that at some point the two of them go against each other, against the White Gundam. And I think that's something that Char will never leave. This is the thing that he's destined to do. He wants to do this one thing, and so it always leads to this death. And it seems like the way to prevent that is, one, to get the Gundam out of the way, which ends up being that Char gets that Gundam. He finally gets that Gundam. But additionally, the idea that she never meets him. She never meets Char, so he never essentially sacrifices himself to save her. And that's the sad reality, because now in this new world, Char doesn't want to accept it. Char is like, finally she gets a world where he doesn't die, and he doesn't want to accept that world. He's going to destroy it. He's going to destroy the Rose of Sharon, send them back, and undo this kind of distortion that's happening that he feels new types can never survive in. But I think the coolest thing about this episode, and it honestly got me really teary-eyed. I mean, yes, the ending, seeing that this world's Lalah finally meets Char, and he doesn't have any desire to fight anymore, is great. It's that finally, yay, they get to be happy together. Finally, we get a universe where Char and Lalah get to be happy together. But I think the big cool thing in this conclusion is that you have the Rose of Sharon, you have Lalah, and she's locked up inside this thing, and she's never coming out, and she's stuck in this endless suffering where she can't be with the one that she loves, even though the one that she loves is actually surviving in this world. Machu is the one that changes everything. Machu is the one that is trying to grow. She used to be this caged bird. She's trying to grow, and through this whole ordeal, she's discovered, I want to be the strongest. I don't want to be weak anymore. I don't want people to protect me anymore. I've been free because Shuji showed me how I can be free like a bird out of my restraints. And I want to be the strongest. I don't want to be shielded anymore. And this triggers something in Lalah. That's what that whole symbolism are finally going, oh, that's right. I know how to fix this. I finally know. Machu has inspired me with her desire not to be shielded anymore. I figured it out. I'm going back home. And it seems like that has triggered for Lalah to realize the best way that I can save Char is to protect him instead. And yes, that seems to imply her probably going back to the original Gundam universe and us getting the original timeline, which is kind of interesting because I think for the longest time for the beginning of this show, I felt like it was almost like an alternate universe where, yes, Lalah was going to die, but then she zapped over this universe where she can be with everybody. But no, it does seem like what we're implying here is that this is the prequel to the original Gundam series of 79. That in this universe, Char died in the original Gundam. She comes to this universe, gets the encouragement from Machu to not want to be shielded and protected anymore, to be stronger, and then boom, we go into the original Gundam series where she sacrifices herself to save Char. We're seeing why she sacrificed herself, basically. So basically, the new watch order is going to be watch a bit of the original Gundam series, watch this, and then watch the rest of the original Gundam series because you can see why she decides to be strong and protect Char. It's a cool ending. It's bittersweet. In the end, it's very bittersweet. I mean, you can sort of kind of create your own headcanon that because she has learned this from Machu, she goes back to the original world and maybe she's so strong that Char doesn't need to protect her, and then they fight together. I don't know, but it seems to imply that she goes back and dies. I think that's what they're implying here, because again, they confirmed this episode, she didn't die in that original world. She wasn't from the original OG Gundam. Sort of. Sort of. It's a mess. It's all a damn mess. And again, like I said, I'd be very curious to new Gundam fans if they're completely lost the significance of this. I mean, there's other significance in the episode too as well, but it was good. I think in the end, even if I do have my frustrations with this entire series and how the pacing is just so whack, at least what I got from it was a really cool kind of alternate reality Lalah, Char, and Shalia. I think those three were the stars of this entire series. Shuji, no. Machu, no. Nyan, no. I think the biggest train wreck of the entire series is those three. Like, what you think is the main characters, Machu, Nyan, and Shuji, their characters were probably the worst. I don't even know who Shuji is. Yes, he came here with Lalah in order to protect Lalah, but who is he? What was his purpose of even being here? It seems to imply that, yes, he came here with her, and he's been trying to protect her, and now the Gundam is telling him, get rid of her, and so that she can go back to the original world, and their original world is not destroyed. But who is he? It's still, in the end, did not answer that question. Yes, I think he's sort of, in the end, the way of opening the door to a possible sequel. Because the only thing that's left undone with this entire series is Machu wanting to go back to Shuji. She just loves Shuji. He showed her the world that's outside of her own, how to be free, and so she loves Shuji. And Shuji, out of nowhere, loves Machu. I like the entire series. Shuji's just like, the Gundam told me, I love the Reza Sharan. I want to protect her. I've been watching all these hundreds of universes being created by Lalah, constantly trying to find some new reality where she could be happy. And now it's all falling apart. And so I need to stop this. I love her so much. I want to protect her. And then Machu's like, no, I don't think she'll like that. Thank you for showing me the real world. I love you. Okay. Just randomly Shuji now loves Machu. And, I don't know. And goes back to his original world. Okay, that's fine. What else in this episode? My gosh, Cassilia died still in this timeline. Cassilia at some point pops up and says, oh, I loved how beautiful Char and his sister was. My gosh, I can't have them be in this world, but don't worry. I'll create a new world where new types can flourish. And then Char nukes her. Char's like, join your brother. You were a great commander. Okay, guess Cassilia's gone. Which facilitates, yes, Shalia being the next, like, leader of the Zeons out of nowhere. That Savior finds Shalia at the very end and says, you gotta take responsibility. It just sounded so weird. Xavier's like, yeah, pulls him out of it. Don't worry. Yeah, Cassilia's dead, all that stuff. I'll give myself up. And Xavier's just like, no, new types need a place to live. You're going to do that, right? And with all the leadership gone, you got to lead the Zeons. So you're going to do it. Oh, I guess I can't. I guess I can't get out of my responsibilities. I guess I'll be the leader of the Zeons. I think he even had Char's mask on the end. I did like Shalia's character. I think of this entire series, I think Shalia was the coolest character. I just loved him. I typically like Char's character in previous series, but I think in this one, Shalia stood out the most. He was just seemingly the most complex character. He was the most mysterious character. He had so much significance the entire series. It was cool to see that he actually survived. There was a brief thought that I had that they're going to kill off Shalia, isn't he? He can't survive against Char. If they had Shalia kill Char, there would be uprisings in the fandom. No, just Shalia and Char just pretty much take each other out. But no, him turning on Char, I think, was probably the biggest kind of WTF. And I see his whole point there. His whole point for Shalia was that based on how emotionalist Char is, he knows that he's going to be just like Cassilia. He, for this moment, seeing that Char is just like Cassilia. Now that Cassilia's gone, he seems just as heartless. He's going to be just like her. And I know at some point you're going to want to take out humanity too. Which, yes, is a reference to Char's counterattack. It implied at some point in the episode, he's like, oh, that's Gundam. I feel like it's killed me before. It implied that Shalia, at some point in this episode, seen into the original universe and seen his future. He's seen everything. And so he presumably seen Char's future. Char even says it. You act like you've seen my future, something like that. He did. He literally did. He apparently watched the movie. He watched Char's counterattack movie at some point. Either way, with the assumption that Shalia was able to peer into the future of the original universe, it makes sense why he turns on Char. And probably the most intrigue that I have for a possible sequel would probably be around what he does with the Zeon. But I don't think that they're planning on doing a sequel of this series. Char's ending was solid. Again, it put a big smile on my face, and the idea that and he's like, I'm gonna go do something with my life that will not have you trying to kill me. Which basically implies that Char's just done. I think that's sort of the bigger message of the entire episode, is just all of these big leaders either being killed or realizing, you know what, I'm done. I'm walking away from this. And Char's situation here, it seems like he's just done. I don't want to be involved with this stuff anymore. Cassilia's gone, and he just kind of walks off in the sunset. And yeah, eventually goes and sees Lalah. Lalah, who's been waiting for him this entire time. Finally, he finds Lalah. I was like, oh, there she is. There she's so happy. She's crying. I got all emotional, like a big smile on my face. Yay, my girl's happy. At least this universe's Lalah is happy. Unfortunately, the other one is going to go and get ghosted. What else do we have to cover? Like I said, this episode's like all over the place, so it's like, what do I cover? Kamali not ending up being from the other side was a little bit of a letdown for those that missed my previous impressions video. Like, I would have this crazy like conspiracy theory that Kamali was from another universe or from the previous universe because she knew too much. No, she's like, yeah, I just kind of see this stuff, but I don't really understand it. Nope, never mind. She's just awakened new type powers. Doesn't seem like she's very knowledgeable. It did seem like she was pulling a lot of information from the other side, which again is similar to Shalia. Shalia was pulling a lot of information, especially like Char's future, from the other side. It seemed like Kamali was pulling stuff from there as well. I mean, she knew who the White Devil was. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Artesia. What? Maybe I missed that at some point. Yeah, when Shalia went to double cross Char, he literally said, now with Cassilia gone, now with Zeon fallen, I'm going to take you out. We're supporting Lady Artesia. I don't remember them ever implying that Artesia was there. And again, for those that are not familiar with the series, Artesia is Char's sister. And she, in the original series, is taken off and eventually joins the Earth Federation forces. I don't think in this series they ever implied that she was somebody important. Yes, it briefly showed her in the previous timeline as she fought against Char at some point, but I don't think it ever showed her here. So it's like, I don't know where for me anyways. Again, I might have missed it. Yes, poop. Oh yeah, by the way, she's like this supreme leader or something like that of the, I'm guessing, the Earth Federation forces, or at least Earth. And so it's like, okay, apparently Shalia's backing her. It shows her very briefly at the very end. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's apparently there. Okay, that's out of left field. That's completely out of left field. Yeah, I think the only other thing we really have is like the big climactic battle, which, yeah, things around Nyan, that felt way off. Just having Nyan feeling like she lost Cassilia, she doesn't really have anything left, and then Machu shows up again, and she's like, hey, help me fight Shuji because we need to see the beach, and so we have to defeat him, so become my Mav. And she's like, oh, thank you, Machu. It's like Nyan, Yeah, they just did not handle Neon's character good at all. Like, I have my problems with Machu, but I feel like she's, again, very much so a muted, juvenile kid that finds freedom in becoming a Gundam pilot and going out and seeing the universe and knowing no clue what the hell she's getting herself into. That's what Machu's character feels like. She feels like a massive fish out of water. She wants to be out of the water, but she has no clue what she's getting herself into. With Neon's character, it felt like they were trying to do something with her, being the kid that, has nothing. She's been, wandering the world, trying to survive, picking up scraps just to survive. Suddenly she has a purpose and then is seeking to find Shuji. And then Machu accepts me, so yay, let's become mobs together. It felt very off. That whole conversation felt very off. But it built into a very cool fight. I think them two paired together, fighting against the original Gundam, fighting against Shuji, that whole fight sequence was really cool. Like, despite... I haven't really been talking about it at all because I felt like I was turning into a broken record. But the entire series, the fights have been very, very shrug. Like, I've just not been impressed by really any of the fights. There's very few ones. Like, I think Shiko's fight was pretty cool because it had the whole grappling hook thing. There was a brief moment of Do and Shalia and all them fighting together at once in gates. That fight had some impact to it, being the city with all the explosion stuff. It was kind of cool, but it was very cut short. This fight felt finally like, okay, cool, there's some cool choreography happening here. Having one character go into slice, the other one comes from behind them and shoots them. There was like like a little like replacement thing happening with the two of them. They were cycling themselves and going in for attacks. And then, yes, having the crazy, I don't know, Gurren Lagann moment, Darling in the Franxx moment, Spaceballs moment, where suddenly the Gundam turns into a massive, completely white Gundam, which is like a big, massive, like, Gundam fan reference there. But it's like this big, massive build up to this big mecha fight, which was like, okay, because we're just going to do this as a big nod to the original creator, and no, there's no explanation whatsoever besides Gundam particles or something. Minovsky particles or Psychomo particles or something. It's big. It was fun. It was a fun little fight there. And again, Shalia seeing Machu and herself kind of changing so much was a cool end to Machu's character, but again, wasn't too impressed with the main trio in the end. But yeah, there was one last little kind of jab at the end of that fight, though, and that was, yes, Machu interlacing hands with the GQuuuuuX, awakening the GQuuuuuXu, and yeah, apparently because they used parts from the other side for this whole system, there's seemingly another person that is inside the GQuuuuuXu that I don't think they ever really implied was there before, but yes... Amuro Ray coming out of nowhere and interlacing his hands with Machu. Come on, girl, let's go fight this thing together. It was cool. I think that the quote that he had in there was great. I'm tired of seeing this Gundam kill Lalah. Please don't let this thing kill her again. The whole concept here is that he's just tired of seeing this death. And it's basically saying, Machu, please stop this whole thing. Please stop her from dying. It was cool. It was really cool to kind of have him finally at the very end there, just boop, out of nowhere. There's the original Gundam protagonist just popping up out of nowhere and saving the day. But yeah, Machu finally calling her freaking mom. I felt so bad for the mom. Like, the mom is like the biggest tragedy of this entire series. She's just sitting there broken, and finally her freaking daughter decides to contact her. But it comes over to Nyan, and she's hanging out with Machu. They're finally at the beach. They got to do what they promised to do at the very beginning, but they're hanging out at the beach. And then eventually, yes, Nyan says, where are you going to go? You're not going to go back home? No, I'm a criminal. Well, there's somewhere I'm going to go. Shuji, apparently. She wants to go see Shuji. She says the Gundam says that they're going to see each other again someday. So it implies that, and it makes sense, technically, if she still has that thing, she has the capability of opening up the Zeknova, there's a possibility that she can go back over there and see Shuji. Which I think is pretty much the only thing in this entire ending that is sort of leaving itself open for another season. I don't think it's happening. I doubt, massive doubt, that this is going to get a second season. But if it did, that would probably be the direction I can see the story going, is Machu and Yan traveling different universes and trying to find Shuji. That's the only way I can see it going. But they imply there's only 2 universes at the moment. Because again, what Shuji said that Lalah was doing was creating worlds, Char would die, and then her despair would cause that world to collapse. So there's only 2 worlds. There's the original world where I'm assuming Lalah goes back to die, And then there's this one world that was created for GQuuuuuX. So the only route it can really go is Machu and Yan popping over to the original world and finding Shuji. I don't think there's enough there to really dive into. Everything else feels complete. Again, I would personally love to see more, to see what Shalia does in his new leadership role and this whole thing with Artesia, but I don't think any of that stuff is going to be bombastic enough and action-packed that people would be interested in it. So I think this is it, unfortunately. For this series. In the end, like I said, because the pacing felt so off and there was so much reliance on knowing the original series, I wish this series was going to be too core. Because I feel like they could have fleshed out things a little bit more, show more of the original timeline to make it make sense for people that are just jumping into the series. And yes, to remind those that watch the damn show now, at this point, it's 50 years old. It's getting up to 50 years old. We're like pretty close to there, like 45 or something like that years old now. A lot of people watch this stuff, probably for me personally, like 10 years old, 12 years ago at this point was the last time I watched it. It's hard to really remember a lot of this stuff, and I feel like that kind of dampened a little bit. But anyways, that's my thoughts overall on the series. I think it could have been really incredible, but unfortunately, I think it just had too much to go through. It was a bit too grandiose for its original 12-episode run. And that's unfortunate because I think there was a lot of potential here to do something really cool. Its biggest weakness overall was its main trio. They barely did anything with those characters, and I felt like their development just didn't work. But for the returning characters like Char and Shalia and all them, it was a cool little concept there that in the end was enjoyable. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on the finale of Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuX. Hope you guys enjoyed my video as always. Thanks to everybody that dropped by weekly to check out my impressions. But yes, if you want to support this channel, make sure to hit that like button down below, become a member of the channel. But until next time, y'all take care.